Hello, this is Mr. Dragus. I want to walk you through my Canvas page and talk to you about how the class works and show you the textbook and so forth. So this is the home page, some information on here. See our classes are in the meeting Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9. Um, let's go to modules. Pretty much everything you do in the course is going to be found in modules. So I chunk everything in units. Each unit's usually a few weeks long, 3-4 weeks, something like that, and it's broken up into weeks as well. So we have the introduction week. Let's look at a typical week. Now, AP Calculus BC, um, the majority of you have taken AB. So how it's going to work is some of these units early in the year are going to be more just review practice. If you haven't taken AB, you're going to have to really teach yourself a lot of the concepts, and I'll give you some resources for that. But you're ultimately going to be doing an array of problems and then taking assessments, quizzes, tests, and so forth. And then eventually we'll move into some of the BC topics a little bit later in the year. So let's take a look at some of the types of assignments. We have problem sets. They look like this. This is what a typical problem set looks like. It'll tell you the pages of the textbook and the problems. If you don't have the textbook yet, there's information, I think, in the syllabus about the book. I got mine on Amazon. I use it, the digital version. So this problem set comes on pages 166 and 167. It works great. I just type it in and jump, and then we see the exercises that we need to do. So you're going to complete these. I do every problem set. I do them on paper. That's what I would recommend, and then submit them, either scanning in or taking pictures, however you normally submit assignments. If you need help with that, you can definitely ask. I think most of you are pretty proficient with that kind of stuff. Let's take a look at a typical assessment. The assessments are timed, but ultimately they're pretty traditional assessments. I did this on purpose. I used to have them like chunked one question at a time, and I found that a lot of kids didn't like one question, do the work, submit it, like doing it like that. That they found it was easier just have the whole test, do it all, and submit it all at once. So that's how I set it up. Um, so you have a couple options. As soon as you hit start, your time is started. So you got to be careful. What I would probably recommend is just open the test and have a piece of paper, a few pieces of paper ready. Have your calculator ready. I think pretty much every test you're allowed to use it. And I would just do your work on paper, just make sure it's nicely labeled. And at the end, again, either scan it all in. If you can send it as one file, that's great. I really appreciate that. If you can't, it's okay, because what I do for every test is I just create a dummy questions where you can upload any additional work if you need to. So this would be like if you needed to upload multiple blank. This is supposed to be file upload questions, but I'll change that. So you would just upload all the different pages again if you can't. But if you can figure out how to get it in one file, that would help me out. That's great. We have these AP practice assignments. They're going to have those throughout the year. They're AP multiple choice BC style questions, some AB as well, but they all tie in directly to the concepts that we're learning at the time. And then I'll show you one other thing in more of like let's go to one of the newer thing, like a BC thing. There's also video. Make sure you watch these. This isn't an assignment, but there's different links there to different videos. I'm going to be filming some videos, occasionally maybe, but a lot of them are Khan Academy or other resources I found from YouTube. But you obviously definitely want to spend some time, watch the video, and then you want to look in the textbook as well. In fact, let's go back to the textbook. If we look at like more of a typical problem, like let's say you had problem 2.4, there's a lot of information in the book. So I would always read through the textbook. Even though I don't technically assign it, I think it's sort of given, understood, that you're at least going to read some of it and definitely look through the examples. That's usually one of the best ways to learn math. I'm sure a lot of you do this all the time. Read through the theorems and examples and rules and all that before you start trying to answer the questions. One other thing about assessments. I look at assessments the way that a lot of English teachers view essays. In my opinion, the first draft a lot of times isn't necessarily a final draft. So I really want you to try your best on an assessment, but don't get help. Don't obviously look anything up, and don't panic too much. If you really have trouble, submit what you can do. Try the best you can, submit it, and then we'll meet and we'll discuss it, and I'll give you some feedback, and you can certainly try and making some corrections, and I'll award you some extra points. So that's kind of what I expect. Quizzes, tests, you have that opportunity throughout the year. Adobe Connect's where you're going to go for classes. A lot of you are familiar with that. And then you have your grades, of course, right here. Well, I think that's all the information that I wanted to tell you today. I'll look forward to working with you this year.